Hi, we are Engineering Brothers, and once again we have got our another interesting problem for our block diagram reduction additional problem 3 over here. And why do I repeat the consideration for our block diagram reduction? That will be disclosed by me in the after part of my video. But up to this one, I'm just going to solve this given block diagram over here, and you can see that this is our complex nature for a block diagram, and we do require to convert these many numbers of block diagram into only one single block will be there, and the left hand side for our signal will be our RS, and the right hand side for our block will be our CS, and only one block will be there. Okay, that is going to be our final answer for our block diagram reduction additional problem 3 over here. And we can see that we have got a feedback signal of our H1S, and up to this one, this has been considered as our H1S over here. And after this takeoff point, you can see that the another gain of H2S that has been associated over here. Now I can draw this takeoff point, or I can divide this takeoff point into two parts over here. So let us just modify our first diagram over here. Now for our step 1, this is going to be quite naturally our step 1. You can see that this is our step 1, and let us draw our overall diagram over here. And from our left hand side for our diagram, you can see that this is plus, this is minus, and in our left hand side we have got this is our quite naturally our RS. Now if you just go on with our analogy, you can see that we have got the G1S. This is going to be our G1S, and for that rest of our considered part we have got this is going to be our plus minus. This one is our plus minus for our summing block, and for that next part we have got our another summing block, which is quite naturally our this is going to be our this is once again plus minus. And if you just go on with our considered part, we have got this one is our G2S. This one is going to be our G2S. And if you do move further with our G3S, in between this G2S and G3S, we have got the H1S over here. Now I can separately draw the takeoff point over here. Now if you just split that takeoff point into two paths, you can see that we have got here only one path is given, and if you just do go in this way, you have got the another path again for our considered part over here. Now first I am just going to consider only this path. Now if you just do consider only this path, we have got this one is our H1S that has been making an entry at the summing point over here. Now if you just do consider our another path, which is going to be this one. Now what is the gain for that path? The gain for that path seems to be H1S multiplied with our H2S. Now if you just do follow this path, only H1S will be there, and if you do follow this another path over here, we have got the overall gain for that one seems to be H1S, H2S over here. Now quite naturally the block of our H1S and our another part for our block will be our H2S, that will be given over there. So this is going to be our H2S, and at the end of our part we have that has been ended at the negative signal for our overall summing block over here. Now if you just go on with our G4S, and quite naturally the summing point of our plus plus will be present over there, and quite naturally we have got the another signal that I am just going to follow over here, and this one is our G4S. This one is going to be our G4S, and here this is making an entry over here as our G4S, and ultimately this is going to be our CS. Okay, now from that path we have got that from this path we have got our H3S. Now this is going to be our H3S, and that is making an entry over here as our summing block or the negative signal for our given considered part over here. Now as you can see that first we have divided this takeoff point into two paths. First path is in this path. Now the overall gain for that path or only this path will be quite naturally our H1S. Now if we just do consider the another form of path over here, which is H1S, H2S, that is being present in series over here, and I have already shown you this path over here. Now you can divide this takeoff point path into two paths over here, just like this one. Now as you can see that in our step 2, now what is going to be the next step over here in our step 2, as you can see that these H2S and H1S, these two blocks are present in series. Now we can eliminate or we can convert these two blocks into one block over here, which is quite naturally the overall gain for that path seems to be this one, which is quite naturally our H2S, H1S. H2S multiplied with our H1S. Okay, now this is going to be the overall gain over here. Now I am just going to consider this inner block over here. For that one, I just require to remember over here the same formulation over here. Now we do know that for the closed loop considered part or for the closed loop system for our block diagram analogy, if we do consider this is our RS, and if we have the gain block as our GS, now this is going to be our CS. Now in our feedback path we have got the gain of our HS that is being present over here. Now what is the overall block diagram or overall consideration for this part? The formulation seems to be our CS divided by RS, which is quite natural output divided by input for only this particular block. And for that one the formulation seems to be this one, which is GS divided by our 1 plus of GS HS. Now what is the block diagram for this one? If you do consider this as our say AS, then for that block diagram, the block diagram is look like this one. Here the transfer function for this block will be this one. Now if you just include the formulation for our closed loop system over here, quite naturally this is going to be our transfer function, and in our left hand side the input of our RS is been present over here and the output will be quite naturally our CS. Now this is the nature, this is the formulation that we are going to follow over here. Now do consider this inner portion of a block over here. Do consider this path over here. Now we are going to utilize or do require to apply this formulation in this given block over here, and quite naturally if you just change this gain block as our G2S, and this one is going to be our H1S for this inner block over here, and quite naturally the formulation will be this one is going to be our G2S and this one is our G2S H1S over here. Now only after the block diagram reduction formulation or after the closed loop consideration formulation, only this block will be present over here. Now quite naturally we can apply this formulation GS divided by 1 plus of GSHS to have this is our exact gain for that part over here. Now in our next step, which is going to be quite naturally our step 3, for that particular step we have applied the closed loop systems, or we have got the formulation for a closed loop control system over there. And for that one, after we have applied the GS divided by 1 plus of GSHS, the exact gain for that path seems to be just like this one. So let us just draw in terms of a block format over there, and that will be quite natural for our considered part over here. Now what is the block diagram for that one? The block diagram part for that one seems to be our, quite naturally, inside our block we have got the G2S divided by our 1 plus G2S H1S over here. And this is going to be our step 3 over here. And in our next step, we are just going to keep on solving our, or do like to solve our given block diagram reduction problem over here. And that I will do in the latter part or considered part over here. If you still have any doubts, please let us know in the comment section for better understanding. Do like, do share our videos, and keep following our channel. And always do remember that, always keep it in your mind that if you do clarify all your steps, or if you just do remember all those steps over there, that will be best for you to solve this type of problems over here. I am showing you the best possible way to solve or to have the best conceptual problems over here. That is why I have utilized, or I have given you the best form of solutions over there. And if you do follow all our videos, your concepts will be crystal clear, and you do let know these subjects in a lot more deeper way, or a lot more depth way. That is the main objective for our classes. So what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe our channel, hit the bell icon for more updates, and stay tuned to the classes. Just wait for my next part.
If you like my video, so what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon for more updates, and stay tuned to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.